Hello, and thank you for joining me. I want to talk to you today about why we overgive and why we over-explain ourselves as well. Now, what do I mean by those two? By overgiving, I mean, why do we, why would we give anybody else absolutely everything in our world that they need, they want, yet we won't do that for ourselves? Why do we care and actually over care and over nurture other people potentially, but we can't give that to ourselves? The over explaining, so that sort of encompasses the people pleasing and being a fixer as well. And why do we over explain ourselves? Why do we feel the need? And basically, I've done all of these things. I will start by saying that. Before my healing journey and through at the start of it as well, it is a bit of a tricky one to release, but it can be released. But the over explaining, why do we feel the need to really kind of go into detail to make sure that we explain ourselves clearly, that we're not being misunderstood, that we're really being heard? Now, a lot of this will come back to kind of trauma responses. And whenever I talk about trauma responses, I always talk about wanting people to understand that, trauma doesn't need to have come from really big events in life. Trauma can still be locked in our mind and body from those seemingly smaller things in life. Basically, if as a child we have lost love in some lesson that we've learned, we lost connection, belonging, then there could well be some trauma locked in for us that we're now responding to or with in our adult life. So all of these things, overgiving, people pleasing, fixing, over explaining, comes back to this lovely little gem of not feeling good enough. Okay, this low self-esteem, low self-worth, a whole bag of self-doubt. And that will come from, just life's lessons, societal programming, conditioning, but it will absolutely come from trauma as well. Trauma and shame are the biggest instigator for low self-esteem and low self-worth. So if you find yourself, even if you don't know that you're traumatized, if you find yourself in this position where you are overgiving, you would give people, anybody, absolutely everything that you have in your world, yet you won't give yourself time, even when it comes to resting. Like, if you wouldn't, let yourself sit down and have, 15 minutes of rest every day, yet you are giving to everybody in your life, giving to everybody at work, giving to your partner, to that point of abandoning yourself, then there's absolutely, some self-worth, self-esteem points that absolutely need to be worked on. And when I say worked on, I mean resolved as well, not managed, coped with, talked about for weeks, months, years in counselling. I'm talking about resolving these points so that we can come back into this space of actually caring for ourselves, nurturing for ourselves in the same way that we would nurture other people. Now, also with this comes in the need to say no and to set boundaries, which, if you're anything like I was 15 years ago when I started my healing journey, I had pretty much no boundaries, and I had to start putting those in place. And I lost people out of my life because I started putting boundaries in place, because I started saying, no, this isn't okay for me. I need to have this and this in my life. I need to do this and this to look after myself. That's not going to be okay by some people, but I absolutely promise you that the people that are meant to be in your life, the people that are the good people that are supposed to be, loving you, there for you in your life, will still be there when you set those boundaries for yourself, because they will understand, you know, and they will people naturally shift if they're meant to stay in your life, I firmly believe. And I've lost a lot of people along the way, and that's okay. Okay, these boundaries, you know, once we start setting boundaries, everything starts to fall into place in the right way. You will lose people, other people will come, but the right people will end up being in your life. So if you're in a space of overgiving, if you're absolutely bloody exhausted because you're running around after everybody else, you know, firstly, it's not your fault. These are programs that are running for you, but absolutely grab hold of that and let's work with it. Give me a shout and we can start working on that, because there is no way, you know, you are as important in your own life as anybody else is, you know, even kids. You are as important, because you cannot abandon yourself. The moment you abandon yourself, you are starting to become no use to anybody else as well. So, you know, if nothing else, even if you're struggling to see that you're as important, know that you cannot keep going if you're totally running yourself into the ground, because you're not nurturing and caring for yourself as well. So if you're in this space of overgiving, people pleasing, if you're in a space also of people coming to you for you to fix them, then that's a really big sign that, you know, your self-esteem is not where it should be. Your self-worth is not where it should be. We naturally attract those people that are actually gonna suck that energy out of us. You know, they want us to fix them rather than them looking to help themselves, okay? Or they're bringing a load of drama into our lives. Either way, it is not, you know, it's toxic energy for us. And at some point we have to, you know, just say enough's enough. You know, I'm as important here. And as I say, if that just fills you with a whole world of guilt, you know, that me saying that, then and you hearing those words, then that's a very natural response as well. So please do give me a shout so that we can start to move you out of that space. All of this stuff I have completely lived on my own healing journey. So I'm bringing together, you know, all of my 15 years of healing into my program. So just know that I've lived everything that I then teach to my clients as well. We can often be in this space of overgiving and over-explaining as well, because we are in that space of feeling fearful about being abandoned. So along with, you know, childhood traumas, there are often abandonment issues, you know, that can be the cause of the trauma, obviously. And that creates a lot of fear in us about being left as an adult. You know, if those lessons have been learnt as a child, everybody leaves, I can't trust anybody, you know, even if you feel like you can trust people, they will then pull the rug out from underneath you. All of these lessons we then carry on in our adult world. So if you're worried about, you know, speaking up for yourself, setting your boundaries, saying no is a completely valid sentence, you know, a one-word sentence, no. We don't have to explain it. But if you're in this space of feeling fearful that people will leave, you know, maybe that's a partner, maybe it's family members, maybe it's friends. If you're in that space of being fearful that they may leave, then, you know, absolutely that is relating back to some kind of childhood experience, trauma around abandonment. So again, give me a shout. You know, we should absolutely be in this space of, particularly as women, being able to be in this space of being, you know, feeling powerful, feeling confident, feeling like we can express ourselves, we can speak our truth, whilst also being in this soft space. You know, we don't need to be, all of these things don't need to be hard, they don't need to be angry, but we should be able to express, or we are, I hate that word should, we are able to express ourselves, get our needs met, do it in a soft way, and people respecting that and staying, again, the right people. So again, if you feel fear, I've absolutely been there, of being left. If you express yourself, I had a number of lessons in my childhood that, you know, you don't speak up, you don't express yourself, you don't express an opinion, because you're going to get a whole world of anger and whatever else coming back at you. I've absolutely been there, and now I'm in a space where I will, you know, confidently talk about my needs and express, you know, explain myself, but not to the point where I feel that I need to keep doing it. I'm also at that point of, you know, if people don't hear me, they're not going to hear me. You know, some people will hear me, some people won't. And that's okay. Some people will understand me, some people won't, and that's okay as well. You know, that's just life. So if you're in a space where you're experiencing any of these things, then as I say, please do give me a shout. This all comes back to, you know, self-esteem, self-worth, how we feel about ourselves, how much we're loving ourselves and caring for ourselves and nurturing ourselves. And that's a really hard, you know, we learn a lot of lessons as women that work against this. So, you know, it's a very easy thing for our self-esteem to get knocked and knocked and knocked. So give me a shout. Let's start working on it. Let's look at what's happening for you. And then we can work out, you know, we can have a chat and we can work out how I can help. I can tell you how I can help you, and then we can work out if we're a good fit to work together. So let's start there, and then we'll start to you know, resolve and correct this overgiving, this people pleasing, so you can really look after yourself and love yourself. Okay, take care everybody. Thank you for listening.